Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Podcast.
You people are so lucky.
Oh my gosh, what luck. 3 white guys are recording a podcast.
To talk about movies, no less. Is this first?
It might be the
people
first,
talk
the first
about
ever
movies
show
podcast?
Where people talk about whether or not a movie is going to be any good based entirely on its trailer.
Crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, really contributing to the discourse. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Hypecast.
Hypecast.
It is the show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
And we have a third person.
Hi, do I introduce myself? I never remember.
You do.
Okay.
This is part of the thing where we don't prepare our guests at all. We just throw them right in.
Okay, let's take it from the top.
Mm-hmm.
No? Fine. I'm Adam Todd Brown from podcasts and the internet.
Oh, welcome the internet's Adam Todd Brown.
How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are the two of you? Answer at the same time, please.
1, 2, 3. Doing
Fine.
okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anytime.
always a pleasure.
Anytime.
How is your 2022 going so far?
Swimmingly.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot complain. The month is very young, though. The year is very young. So
The month and the year.
still plenty of time to turn. I had an awful October through December, but things are turning around now. So it's good.
That's good. That's good. No, I'm happy for you. The month is, what is today? The 21st. Okay, so the month is still pretty young. It's old enough to OD in front of the Viper Room, but
Yep.
That's true.
I
I think it's weird when we talk about years, like they'll be different immediately. It reminds because we just made them up.
yeah.
Like it's just a thing. It's like when in movies they show a hospital at night and everybody's asleep and it's quiet and it's like you realize that like it's still like that's a 24-hour thing. People get sick, any time of day. It feels like the same thing. Where
Not
it's
at night,
like,
Dave.
Apparently not at
No,
night.
because nighttime is when you sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
we just made up the numbers.
We did, yeah. No, it was all the 2020. It's all the 2012 movies that were like, this is when the Mayans predicted the end of the world. It's like, no, that's just when the calendar that they invented ran out.
Yeah. And you know what?
It's when they were going to kill themselves if they were still around.
And they looked at the calendar and they're like, you know what? I bet we probably don't need to exceed this number. And they were right. They don't need, they weren't still around doing calendar stuff, right?
I don't think so.
They're also right that the world should have ended in 2012 or wherever they had it pegged.
They weren't wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the yeah. It's not going to get any better than that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I won't call it the best point of human history, but it certainly won't get any better than it was in 2012.
Apex of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
2001-2.
The zenith. The pinnacle. All of those, I think all of those are also video cassette manufacturers for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the year that Journey 2 came out.
That's true.
So, that's peak humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Good for us.
Speaking of peak humanity, we should probably name some producers, right?
Yeah, we can do that. Hey, big old thank you to Lef. Thank you, Lef. Thank you to Samuel Beckett's Donuts and Mortgage Emporium. Not sure what that's a reference to. Is that a reference?
I don't care.
I know the next one's a reference. Big thanks to Ryan, the Silly Money Goose. Thank you to Snapper Carr, punches God in the dick. Thank you to @Nerd Numbers. Thank you, Nerd Numbers. Thank you to Mike the Lurker. Thank you to DJ Finney. DJ Finney. Thank you to Dracula, the bus driving vampire. It's gonna say the buff driving vampire.
He could be a buff driving vampire. Yeah.
Thank you to Brockway Loves the Meat Millie. Thank you very much. Thank you to Grumblebee. Thank you, Grumblebee. Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid. Thank you very much.
All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Look Mom on a podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you to Seismic Charge Noise. Thank you to Deborah's Awesome, Barbara's Great, and Cancer Can Go to Hell.
Thank you.
Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcano Coniosis Jones.
That's me.
It is you son of a bitch. Thank you. Thanks to the baby from Eraserhead.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chiz Lily Tits.
Thank you.
Thank you to These 7 Bees.
Thank you.
Thank you to Breezy Reezy.
Thank you.
Thank you to Davey Francis for The Revenge.
Thank you.
And thank you to MVB.
Thank you. More producers later, but first, we got to get through these trailers before we get to the producers.
We got to dive into these trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Including the tasty new trailer for the Disney Plus series Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. What Tom? What's a Moon Knight?
Well, okay, so I don't have too much. I didn't run into Moon Knight too much when I was reading comics as a kid, but from what I remember, he's basically a thief who steals some Egyptian artifact, and it overtakes him with some sort of guardian spirit, and now he fights crime, and he has like some sort of mental disorder like disassociation or something, which looks to be the case in this trailer.
Juggling a lot of stuff there,
like spinning a lot of plates.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about the character though.
I'm looking at what he looks like in the comic, and he looks like if you were making a fake comic book movie in a movie. Does that make sense? Like he looks like exactly what you'd imagine a comic book character to look like. He's got like that Doctor Doom cape and like the Batman outfit. Like it's not an insult necessarily. It's just he's so incredibly a comic book character, if that makes sense.
Aggressively a comic book character. He's like a mummy in a cape. He's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Do we know how many Marvel characters there are? Like just in total, has anyone ever done like a census?
Are you trying to calculate how many more movies and shows?
More TV shows are going to get?
Yeah, especially how many more TV shows.
Until people, until the well is completely dry, man. Until people completely turn their back on the MCU, I think they'll just keep beating this thing.
You're saying they have enough heroes in the barrel.
There's hundreds of thousands of characters, I'm sure. Maybe not that many, but there's definitely multiple thousands of characters, right. I think.
It certainly feels that way.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to keep getting Disney Plus shows until they Star Wars this thing.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about this. I put this in the notes, starting with the fact that I'm lukewarm on Marvel. You know, it's very hit or miss now. We're all feeling that fatigue. This looks fine. Like this actually looks kind of exciting and neat.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, but so I enjoyed Shang Chi as well. The reason I bring it up is because Shang Chi is like Marvel doing martial arts, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have this like company with all this money doing martial arts. So naturally, they created some really kick-ass scenes. Ultimately, it's just a superhero film where they battle at the end.
Yeah.
This feels like they're doing the same thing for that mystery box genre. like kind of like that horror, like Apple Plus series type look. You know what I mean?
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it really screams that in the cinematography, like the color scheme, the music,
Mhm.
that they're doing that.
Oscar Isaac's Dick Van Dyke accent.
Yes. Oh my God. And so
Like
they're
a
really
chimney
doing
sweep
that.
Oscar Isaac.
It's Oscar Isaac, I is in it.
I'm a moon knight in it.
It's what Marvel has now begun to do, which is like, it's this weird thing where they can do the most version of a genre. They can take a genre and basically Disneyfy, whatever.
Yeah,
That
is
sounds
a
right.
phrase that
Yeah.
gets bandied about.
Um,
Yeah.
In this case, it doesn't look like it's bad for that reason.
No.
But it's just like watching of like, wow, they really did. They took their algorithms and their scientists and they looked at all those other shows and they're like, let's do that too. I mean, for all they know, I don't know who's making this, so maybe it's just someone with that background.
I actually forget.
I really, really, really like that for this. I'm just assuming at some point he's going to have to put on a costume and beat people up.
Yeah.
And that'll just be the show from then on. Maybe they can still keep it compelling. Shows like Daredevil certainly did that. So none of this is like a knock against it. I just find it kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I am interested to see them do a mystery box kind of thing. That's if I can bring myself to watch it. I haven't watched any of the Marvel series so far because I'm just so burnt out on just like the superhero movies and kind of action movies a little bit, just in general.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
yeah, that's completely understandable. I think like Marvel films, they still vary enough, but they tend to all have that samey stuff.
yeah,
And that's
they-
that's an element that I hadn't thought of before too, is that there's also a bit of action film fatigue that
Yeah.
now that you mention it, I definitely am experiencing.
Yes. Action
'Cause it's-
films.
Because it's too much of the Fast and Furious.
Right.
yeah.
It's either, well, yeah, it's a tough genre. And you could argue that stuff like horror has their genres where it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of movies taking place in the woods right now with like the witch aesthetic.
Yeah.
I guess that just keeps working for me, but I'm also not watching all of those either. There's a few trailers that we have down the line that feel like they're part of genres or styles that we might need to start retiring. Action specific, there's one down the line that has that trope of like kick-ass person. Does that make sense? Like a person who's like the John Wicks,
Yeah.
or even the Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
Where it's like killing machine. It's
yeah.
the killing machine genre.
Secret life, secret past as a killing machine.
And like,
just trying to sell shit on Etsy now.
right.
And someone
When they're-
shows up and blows up
Just
their
trying
life.
just trying to sell my humble wares,
they're making
my humble crafts on Etsy.
Macrame ghost guns and taking on the neighborhood.
When it's done right, it's fun, but I do miss, I would love a resurgence of the everyman, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, it's less
character.
for me the meeting of Marvel fatigue and action movie fatigue is less about like the story, and it's more about just like the kind of action we tend to get right now, where it's just green screen wire work stunts, and
Yes.
where it's just like it's like the mid 2000s of action. I think we've talked about it before, but
Yeah, with that the Marky Mark movie that I've completely forgot. The one
Infinite.
That was a symptom of this, and a lot in Fast and Furious has become that, even though they still do some practical, where it's like if a car is doing a stunt and you make it CGI, you have eliminated the reason we're watching an action film. We're not watching it to be like, look at the thing your computer can do. That is the wrong instinct. It's just like, if you can't afford to actually have someone honestly jump a bike onto what seems like a moving plane, if you can't do that to some like practical extent, then why are we watching it?
Yeah. I think the specific genre of action movie that I'm most tired of is cool CIA guy. Like I'm tired of the CIA looking cool.
We definitely need to knock that shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing it for decades now.
Yeah, we need to start making the CIA look like what they are in movies.
Yes.
Like, show me some movies about them toppling democracies in Latin America.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Assassinating children and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Poisoning musicians.
Yeah. That's what we need. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I do think it's I guess two different things, but the Marvel fatigue I feel greatly because of that too, which is like when you get into the actual action sequences, I don't know. It overlaps.
There's overlap.
Sure.
I didn't connect the two until Adam pointed it out.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm here for.
anyway, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
I don't know. I mean, it looks interesting. I don't know. I like Oscar Isaac. I like giving these weird tertiary characters the spotlight, because that's where you start to get into like the really fun stuff in Marvel. Because comics, what the sad thing is about Marvel fatigue is how, and how samey they all are, is comic books get really weird. Right. We see a little bit of it in like the Guardians movies, but like they get so strange, and like this Moon Knight is a little more closer to like the really weird shit that shows up in Marvel. So we should see more of that, like Tomb of Dracula and stuff like that. Morbius is going to be a fucking weird movie.
I guess, yeah. My problem is it all with Marvel specifically is it all still, like, as weird as they get, it all still has to fit in a box.
They still do the same, like with Shang Chi. Shang Chi is, it's not the typical Captain America or Iron Man type story, but even as like new as that movie felt, it still had to do like the same, got to fight the bad guy in the end on a big dragon, right? So, yeah, they still put it in the same box for sure. And
it's why I constantly have a new appreciation for James Gunn, because James Gunn understands that this universe is absurd and then loves to show how absurd it can be in very unique ways. I would say Guardians of the Galaxy, that doesn't end with like a big fight, does it? It ends with like them crashing and like that dance off.
They do a dance off, and the second one is even like, it's not really a fight because it's a planet,
right? And there's a bunch of stuff going on where it's like, we have to plant this bomb. There's gags. Peacemaker, obviously, like it really, really having fun showing the absurdity of it. And the Suicide Squad, where it's like taking it's realizing that superheroes and superpowered characters are always weird, psychologically speaking. To just be in a room with them, there's something always weird and grotesque about it, and he's very good at using the genre to create absurd moments that are delightful. And that's kind of the best thing you can do with superheroes at this point
right now, definitely, to like refresh it, because it's been over 10 years of Marvel dominating movies year after year.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know,
but I mean, dress Oscar Isaac up as a mummy again.
I do like Oscar Isaac a whole lot. He's great.
Yeah. A few people have pointed out, it's like, remember the last time he did like a character that was like co-opting Egyptian culture?
Oh yeah,
Apocalypse, an X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think what a waste of Oscar Isaac.
That movie was a waste of a lot of things, but yeah.
Oscar Isaac is one of those. He has that thing where, when a new actor or an actor gets discovered or is highlighted, and you're like, I can't wait to see all the weird shit they do. And then like sometimes they just do superhero stuff. Yeah, and it's like, that's a shame.
He still manages to get some cool stuff. It's more like what happened to Jeremy Renner.
I was just gonna say Jeremy
Renner, yeah, with Hurt Locker, and then it was...
they tried to Hurt Locker and The Town, which are like really good, like soulful performances, and then for the next 10 years they kept trying to make him action guy, and it's like that's not what he's good at.
Have you seen?
And also, that's the thing, is it says nothing against them. Like Fuck. The one with the dick.
Brian Austin Green,
No, I really want to just get you guys to get it based off that.
Luke Perry,
No.
Huey Lewis. I'm just naming celebrities I've heard have huge
Mark
hogs.
Wahlberg,
Shame.
Shame?
Fassbender.
Fassbender. Michael Fassbender.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I see. You
Now I
would
get
describe
it. The dick.
Michael.
The guy
You
with
would
the dick,
describe
yeah.
Michael Fassbender as the one with the dick. Yeah.
He's another one that it was like I remember hearing he's going to play Magneto and being like, that's amazing. He's elevating that because he's such a good actor. But then it becomes like, yeah, what has he done recently? Like, I like him in the Aliens. I like him in everything. But he hasn't
he
really
did that
done
movie
anything
recently. He did that movie Frank, where he's just in a mascot head the entire time.
that was great. That was probably the last one. Benedict Cumberbatch also comes to mind.
Yeah.
He's
someone was like-
still doing shit though. Like he did like 5 movies this year on top of the Spider-Man, and they're all like weird, where he plays some weird British guy.
That's true.
Have either of you seen Mayor of Kingstown?
No.
That's Jeremy, right?
Yeah, that's
It
a
is.
Jeremy Renner show on Paramount Plus. I actually liked it a lot.
It looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Jeremy Renner back in his wheelhouse, which is guy you're surprised is an actor, which I think is
Oh
the
yeah.
best way to describe Jeremy Renner. And he just plays like a dirtball guy who kind of straddles the line between cop and criminal. I mean, he's not really a cop. He plays his job as liaison between people in prison and their family on the outside, but in like an unofficial criminal sort of capacity. And I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good.
Some
Yeah,
it was co-created by the main character of Hardcore Logo, Dave.
no shit.
Yeah, the singer.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that show. Yeah, Jeremy Renner really does excel as aggressively normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That does look. Again, I saw one trailer for it and it looked delightful.
Yeah. Jeremy Renner's great in it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, in terms of Moon Knight, it does feel like at least we're getting the pattern where these actors are like, "Can I do like a voice?" And they're like, "Absolutely, you could do a voice."
Well, and it's in this is the way they portray it in the trailer, is that he's like, they're really leaning into like the dissociation where he's waking up, doesn't understand what's happening to him. He's having weird breaks like at work, just out in public. So it's a different introduction into like the common superhero origin story,
Yes.
and that's as a result of like whatever mystical power is taking hold of him. But it's a more interesting way than just seeing a version of Tony Stark building his Iron Man suit and slowly getting better at it, that we've seen, a million times since the original Iron Man.
Yeah. I guess what it is I suspect that that's going to be the most interesting part. And then the moment he's putting on the suit, my interest is going to dip.
We'll see. He looks like a
We'll
rad
see.
mummy.
He does look like a rad mummy. They should have called
Yeah.
it that.
Rad mummy.
Rad mummy.
We could make that movie, Dave. You and I could make the movie Rad Mummy.
That's true.
It's the skateboarding mom.
Skateboarding mummy eating flaming hot Cheetos with a mohawk. The Cheetos have the mohawk.
Of course. Speaking of, I don't know, flaming hot, we should talk about this Lords of the Ring.
Lords of the Ring.
Yeah. The Rings of Power. This is the announcement trailer. It shows nothing, but it does.
It finally
us-
reveals the title. Yeah.
Yeah, it also reveals what it'll be about, probably, which is the act of handing out rings.
Well, one of them doobers, either an Amazon person or one of the people working on the show, I forget who. So my God, I've already made whatever I'm about to contribute completely meaningless. But I read a quote from somebody involved with the production that they were like, well, it's, we made the movie about the One Ring, but there were however many, like 19 other rings, however many there are.
What of those?
Yeah, what of those rings? And I saw somebody responded with just not even the full clip or GIF or even the quote, but just the screenshot of Owen Wilson in Royal Tenenbaums from the scene where he's like, my book presupposes what if he didn't?
Right.
About Custer's old Custer. That's what it's called.
Right. Because I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those other rings didn't have any power.
that
was
the whole point. I mean, we
They
run into
were
it.
all of them deceived, I believe. That there's only one true ring. I'm pretty sure that's why it's
to
the
rule
Lord
them
of
all.
the Ring.
Yeah,
There can be only one. It's a quote from that movie, I think.
Yeah.
That's I really want a Highlander where they're just whipping rings at each
Just
other like
little
discs.
gold rings.
Yeah, to try to cut each other's heads off.
Come on.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think we talked about this last week, but yeah, I'm fine with more Lord of the Rings because I really like the movies, but like we're running into the same problem of like any prequel where it's like, yeah, we told the story that mattered already.
I hate to go back to superheroes, but my bar has been lowered a bit where when the new Matrix was coming out, I was also like, oh yeah, let's get like 6 of them. Let's all be doing the Matrix from here now on.
Get the next 10 years, Matrix movies.
And it's funny because I just want something new. I just want something that's dominating, that's new. And at this point, it's like, I don't even care if it's a property that already existed.
I hadn't seen any of the Matrix movies in a long time, so I started watching the new one and was like, no, I need to go back and rewatch these. And I had it in my head that I was going to make a day of it and just watch every Matrix movie in one day. And I got about halfway through the third one and was like,
I was going to say,
this is going to have to wrap up tomorrow, and I still have not watched the new Matrix movie.
I was about to say, you're going to hit a wall when you reach those sequels.
I sure did. I sure did.
I love them.
I've had that same day, Adam, where I'm like, it's time to watch all the Matrixes again. And I get to the first one, I'm like, yeah. I get to the second one, I'm like, I need to do something else.
Oh, I got cocky and tried to watch the Animatrix too. So
man, you flew too close to the sun.
Yeah,
I did. Matrix. That really drew things out.
I've said this many times. I've watched all 3 several times, the Animatrix multiple times, and played through both video games. I know everything.
You are the Matrix.
I am the Matrix.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Lord of the Rings, same feeling where it's like, I like it. Look, this title sequence looks neat.
Sure.
I don't like. It feels like they're trying to gritty it up a little bit.
I mean, Lord of the Rings it's pretty gritty in terms of its look anyway. Yeah.
I think they're going to try to make it look grittier. I think they're going to go like that Game of Thronesy look. I don't know. This is a wild. I'm throwing
Dave,
this out.
Press pause. Where did Game of Thrones get that look from?
I know, but even it's still like gritty down. You know what I mean?
Even more. I'm kind of.
Here's what I'm saying. Is this is just from a fucking teaser that doesn't show anything.
A title. It's a logo teaser. Is what it is.
When you see the ring itself in this logo, it's a little grittier looking. Just a little. It doesn't have that like 2000s smoothness. Does that make sense? Where it feels like
smooth thousands. Jesus.
Yeah, they sharpen the edges of the ring a little bit. If you look at it, they've made the writing a little rougher looking.
Looks like an episode of Forged in Fire.
Yeah, I think they're going to gritty it down a little bit, and yeah, you're right. It's already pretty gritty.
Yeah,
but I don't know what there is to contribute. You know what I mean? Where it's like if I was asked to make this show, I would just be like, well, I better just do what Peter Jackson did. Again.
Yeah, I mean, they're diving into like the appendices and the Silmarillion, and it's like they've spent, I forget what the total figure is now, but it's the most expensive thing in history, I think. At least show, definitely, but they're spending an absurd amount of money on this show. I don't know. And we still won't see it for like another year.
Yeah, it's that where I'm suspicious, but boy, would I love it to be amazing. I would love more Lord of the Rings. That would be.
It would also be funny if it was really, really bad, though.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah. I would almost be just as excited if it was really terrible, because I would still watch every episode, but just with a different lens.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be the right kind of, because I started. And I know people have assured me it gets better, but that Wheel of Time, that was the kind of where I was just bored, where I got 13 minutes in and I realized like I don't think I can commit to this. You know, like it needs to be bad in a fun way, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And it could be.
It might be. I don't know. And
Yeah.
it might be good. I don't know.
It might be good.
We won't
But-
know for a year.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about something we will know about sooner.
Yeah.
Gasoline Alley. This is Devon Sawa and somebody, Bruce Willis.
Have we been pronouncing his first name wrong all these years? Is it
No,
Devon?
it's-
Because he's been Devin
Don't
to
tell
me.
him. Don't tell him.
gotta okay.
Devon.
It's a trap that Dave lays for people.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
It's also it's important to note that this movie is in no way connected to the comic strip Gasoline Alley, which is what I initially thought until I started the trailer. So imagine my surprise.
I gotta say, Devon Sawa has. I never noticed this right away about him, but he has good taste in what he is in. I don't know if that's he's choosing it or not. Like I don't know how he works behind the scenes. Obviously,
Does that
All I know is-
opinion apply to Fred Durst's The Fanatic? Because it should.
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
that's what I mean. Is
I
that
love that movie.
he always picks things that are at least very interesting. Like
Yeah.
at least they're unique. And I usually really like the things he's in. So I have to guess he just has good taste, or whoever's given him these scripts has good taste. So yeah, I want to see this just because Devon Sawa's in it. Because he is actually a consistent sign that a movie's going to be entertaining, right?
So far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
Whereas, yeah, Bruce Willis these days, it's a grab bag.
Bruce Willis, complete crapshoot. Usually
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Usually bad.
Did something happen to Bruce
Well-
Willis? He used to be a big star, and now he's Nicolas Cage, but not in the cool way Nicolas Cage is
Right,
Nicolas
There's
Cage now.
conflicting rumors about
Yeah.
it.
There's conflicting rumors about it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What are the rumors?
Well, one that I've heard is that, and this is just a rumor. I have no idea if it's true or not. But one rumor is that he has dementia and is being somewhat taken advantage of.
Holy shit.
But if that were the case, you'd think his family would step in.
yeah.
So-
Yeah. The other theory that I at least have, it's the Liam Neeson thing. It's a few actors where it's like, at a certain point, maybe they're just like, listen, I've acted. Like Bruce Willis, he's done a good job.
right,
as an actor.
he doesn't really have anything left to prove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe he's just like, I want to keep making money
Mhm.
because I like money and I like my lifestyle, but I don't really want to work. I'm sort of like, it's that retirement period. Like I think it's weird with actors because actors will retire. But I think like everybody with like who's a workaholic or just, I don't know, used to a certain lifestyle. Maybe it's not so hard. Maybe they just want to make it a little easier on themselves. And honestly, that isn't the worst thing, I don't
Yeah.
think.
And something that is definitely true, which I've heard rumblings about through the grapevine, and you can just watch it in any of the films he's made lately, is Bruce Willis in these movies. He uses a double whenever possible.
Yeah.
So they have Bruce Willis for maybe a couple of days. So it's for like innocuous stuff. There was a clip I saw of a recent film he did, I think the one with Megan Fox, where he's using a double for a scene where he's just supposed to walk across a yard. And it's very clearly a double. And it's like,
Jeez.
Bruce could have done that, but
Right.
they only
Hearing-
had him for a couple of days, clearly. So
Yeah, and like hearing like Kevin Smith stories of Bruce Willis, like he doesn't seem like a guy who particularly loves working. Like it like like I feel like if he like you take Bruce Willis, you have him work at like a Taco Bell, he wouldn't be the best employee, if that makes sense. Where it's like, yeah, some people might just want to not work that much, and if they can get away with it, they
if
can
I
get
could
away
get
with it.
away with getting paid $2 million to film for 2 days and have the rest of my stuff done by a double, I would take that deal every
Exactly.
single time.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I did not give the world Die Hard. So
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's like, yeah, it's Tony Stark. It's like, you can rest. You can rest now.
You can rest
Like,
now,
yeah.
Bruce Willis. And his version of resting is making action movies with Luke Wilson and Megan Fox.
Yeah.
was
Luke
Devon
Wilson's
Sawa.
in this.
Luke Wilson is
in this.
super in this.
Luke Wilson he reminds me of Jason Bateman in that no matter what role he's in, he's kind of funny. Like he just like, the way he talks is just funny. And it's hard to take him serious because of that. But
yes,
I'll give it a shot for Devon Sawa's sake.
Again, Devon Sawa, when I see him, I'm like, well, this is probably going to be interesting. Like it's that thing where he usually he doesn't phone it in, and he picks movies that don't phone it in. So even if Bruce Willis is just like there to get a paycheck, I kind of feel like the movie around him might be very good.
Yeah, this
or
movie,
at least interesting.
Right. The premise of this film is Devon Sawa is some kind of shit kicker, and he's getting framed for the murders of like 4 women.
Yeah.
Luke Wilson and Bruce Willis are some kind of cops. I don't know, and they're pressuring him to like help them solve the mystery. And there's explosions and gunfire, and also intrigue, and a whodunit aspect.
Bruce Willis to be in a movie called Some Kind of Cops.
Some Kind of Cops. Yep.
Yeah. Also, I want to say Devon Sawa plus action. Need more of that.
Yeah.
I would like more of that, please.
Devon Sawa is aging in a way I've never seen anyone age. He simultaneously looks exactly like he did when he was, I don't know, in the Stan video, but also just so weather beaten. And
right, yeah,
he
looks great.
Yeah, he looks great, but it also not great. Like he looks distressed, like a pair of jeans.
You would say his face has a lot of character.
Yeah,
right. But like he's like the gritty reboot of himself. Because again, like when I look back at him as a teen, I would have never thought grizzled action man, as like in his future. And now watching this, I'm like, it works so well. I love it.
So I'm not tired of action movies with Devon Sawa in.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Give us more Sawa.
Give us more Sawa.
Seriously, he's great. We love him. We love Devon Sawa, folks.
This is a pro Sawa podcast.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay, Against the Ice. This is a TV show, movie. What is this?
This is a movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
Looks
about
intense.
people. Yeah. It seems like it's just about people mainly murdering dogs.
Well,
like
it's Jamie Lannister and some sidekick have to get across the wilderness somewhere in or near Denmark, crossing some vast expanse of ice and snow to get to some sort of port. It's one of those older explorerish movies, but
it's a survival film.
It's a survival film. They start getting wicked cabin fever. It looks, like Adam mentioned, it looks intense. I'm actually really, really interested in watching this movie. Yeah.
But it was definitely where they're like, I knew going into it, it was labeled like survival thriller. And then they're like, let's go do it. And they have 2 dog sled teams. And I was like, man, all those dogs, because they have to be stranded. Well, so at some point they have to lose their transportation. And it's like, my God.
They give away how they lose their transportation in the trailer.
Yes. Yeah,
they're gonna eat that transportation.
Yeah.
Well, and you see some of them fall off a cliff.
Well, that too.
Some of the dogs just straight up, a great many of them, in fact, fall right off a goddamn
a
cliff.
Cluster of dogs are gonna go flying off of a cliff.
Yeah.
They should have a shot of them all like just nailing a bunch of seals or something below.
Yeah, bunch of baby seals.
Yeah. There's also a polar bear, which looks like it's having a great time.
That polar bear scene is amazing.
Yeah, that bear deserves to live. Like, I hope they don't you know, they're already killing too many animals. I want that polar bear at least to have a great time.
Yeah.
It looks like they're just funning anyway. He just taps the guy on the chest.
At the very least, let the bear have a nice weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if the dogs and the people can't, let the bear have something. But yeah, no, it looks like there's some horror element in it where it's, you know, he's having hallucinations that he's back at home, and I mentioned cabin fever. There's an element of tension and distrust between the two men on this trip. It looks good.
Yeah. It definitely looks very intense and very good.
My dog just died, and she was a husky, so it's gonna bum me out to watch it, but I'm still gonna watch it. It looks very good.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Rest in peace, doggy. Winter Soldier Neeson.
Oh
man,
she married one of the dogs from The Grey at one point. That's why the Soldier Neeson. Which I know is a joke that implies that Liam Neeson fucked one of those wolves. And he
probably did.
Listen, it ends ambiguously.
Exactly. Yeah.
That scene, the scene could have ended with the two of them in an embrace, in a tender embrace.
It kind of does.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
God, I want to watch that again. That and the Revenant. I think I'm going to do the Grey and the Revenant.
The movie that Roger Ebert was so enamored of.
Yeah.
My first introduction to the Grey was I bought a bootleg copy of it on Canal Street in New York City for a Cracked article.
Yeah.
And great. I fucking love the Grey. I loved it so much.
That's the perfect gateway into the Grey.
That's one of those films that you kind of expect something of it, and then you watch it and you're like, and then you look up who made it and you're like, oh, this is like a movie.
Yeah.
They made a movie. Cool. Like they didn't have to, but they did. And good for them. You want to talk about this next one?
Yeah.
Speaking of like uncontrollable bears, this is Last Looks. This is Mel Gibson playing a violent drunk man.
Violent drunk actor with a foghorn leghorn British accent.
Yes, that is a choice he is making.
And a Colonel Sanders a gathering of facial hair.
Is that so? I've seen pictures of him with that facial hair from like what feels like 5 years ago. Is this a movie that they made a long time ago and then no one?
I don't know. I think he just likes that configuration of facial hair. I think he likes looking like Moriarty.
Yeah, I have bad news for him. I guess he looking like a villain. That
You have bad news for Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I have bad news for Mel Gibson about his facial hair, and a lot of other things.
This is an interesting movie because this is a movie I would be excited to watch were this character not played by Mel Gibson. What the premise is Charlie Hunnam plays, I don't know, a detective or a fixer or something
who looks like Brad Pitt in that, like, you remember that Brad Pitt stage where he looked like
where he looked like Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's like the Mexican era of Brad Pitt. He's Mel Gibson is a notorious aging actor who may have killed his wife, but he was acquitted, I think, and he gets hired by Morena Baccarin to solve some sort of mystery surrounding Mel Gibson's character, and it looks a little Guy Ritchie,
a little Shane Black. I was gonna
a little.
say.
It's like a mix of Guy Ritchie, Shane Black. That's a good call. And again, it's one of those, like, it looks funny, and it's the type of kind of grimy underbelly of Hollywood type film that I enjoy watching. But man, Mel Gibson's a tough sell.
From the director of Action Point.
Oh, sure.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not? But I'm all set with Mel. I'm all set with new Mel Gibson films. It's going to take a lot for me to say, ooh, I should check that out.
It's going to take a bit more than Charlie Hunnam in a hat.
Yeah. I'm just generally like, no thanks.
Yeah. Mel Gibson, he's never going to stop getting work.
No.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's because he's good at what he does. It's the same as Ice Cube is never going to stop getting work, and he's a vehement anti-Semite and like
Really?
unapologetic about it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know it
Wow.
until I started following him on Twitter, and hoo boy.
Really?
Yeah. And
My goodness.
if you go back and listen to his second albums, there are moments on that are basically a hate crime. Like, it's intense, and no one cares because, I don't know, Are We There Yet was so great. Like, I mean, I get the music, like the early music, like Ice Cube's early stuff was really, really important to music, but I don't know.
Right. It always depends on, it's weird because like I listen to a lot of punk. So it's like when people, where it's like, that person's a scumbag. It's like, I kind of assumed they were.
Yeah.
Because of the genre I'm listening to. But yeah, like with actors, it's weird that there's certain ones where it's like, well, we just decided we're going to keep giving them work. And people are going to keep tweeting like, why are they giving them work? And Hollywood's going to be like, yep, not going to change our mind on this. We're just going to keep doing it. It's very odd. And with Mel, at least, it's not like mainstream, like he's not doing major. He's, no one's going to stick him in a Marvel film, right?
Yeah. No, probably not.
Well,
probably not, but
he just did that. What was the sequel he did with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell?
Daddy's Home too.
Yeah, that was a pretty big mainstream movie. I mean,
he got an Oscar nom for directing Hacksaw Ridge.
God, you're right. And then Lethal Weapon 5 is going to happen.
Probably.
He's involved in that. Yeah, what's going on? Huh.
Mel Gibson has a lot of friends in the industry.
He sure does.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, he's working a lot. I'm looking.
He's working a lot.
His 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 projects coming up. One is you're right. He's in the John Wick mini series.
Yeah, he's in the Continental.
What's going on here?
Wow. Yeah, I'm always kind of bummed. I mean, Jodie Foster is by no means the biggest victim of Mel Gibson's ways.
Right.
But it always does bum me out when someone makes a really great movie, but there's just some unfortunate name in it. Of course, I'm referring to the Beaver.
Yeah.
That movie is so good. And Jodie Foster should have gotten a lot more credit for it, but I obviously understand why she didn't.
Timing, yeah.
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 Very bad timing.
Very bad timing. Yes.
Strike when the iron is the furthest from hot that it could be.
Yeah. She's still directing a little bit. She directed Money Monster. Y'all love Money Monster.
Yeah. Now, who could forget? At the time, I divide the timeline of my life into before Money Monster and after Money Monster. Right. Really, it's how I remember things.
BM, Tom.
BM and AM.
Yeah. BMM. AMM.
BMM, AMM.
Yeah. Yeah, she should direct more stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get that going, folks.
Yeah.
This
Jodie Foster needs our help.
Right. She could really use a hand.
Yeah, she could use a break.
Yeah. But this is what you're talking about. This is a film where, I could see myself being like, ooh, I kind of want to see this. And just Mel Gibson, man, he sucks the fucking life out of it. I'm just, I'm over it.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I missed out on a movie where a disgruntled kid who got coal for Christmas hires Walton Goggins to assassinate Santa Claus because Mel Gibson plays Santa Claus in that movie. I'm never going to watch that film.
Do you really need him to play Santa? I don't know.
Anybody could have played him.
Yeah.
Fucking put Bryan Cranston in there as Santa. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Anyone else?
I forgot about that movie.
Fat Man.
Yeah. I was going to watch it one night and just didn't. And
it's a fun premise.
It is. Yeah.
I'm never going to watch the goddamn thing.
I just it's not even a matter of principle. It's just like it bums me out to see him and it distracts me in the movie. Yeah. So it's like, and there's that section where it's like, I also don't want to support this already very rich person. who said some terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to support him, but also like, I just can't get over it in my head.
It's
just like
it's like having to, if he's in a villainous role, that's one thing, but like this movie Last Looks, where he's maybe the bad guy, but you can tell from the trailer he's supposed to be like an endearing character,
right?
And like Fat Man, where he's the main character. It's like I can't watch a movie where Mel Gibson's the hero unless it's Maverick.
Unless it's Maverick, but Maverick transcends everything.
Yeah, Maverick's a perfect film.
Yeah.
True.
Let's talk about this next one, Severance. This is very.
Oosh.
This feels like a parody of this genre to an extent. It's not necessarily a bad show. I like.
Why don't you tell them what's it about?
Yeah, it's about So it's like a mystery box sci-fi where this guy works at a place that has the Severance system, where like when you work on this floor, it erases your memory of everything that doesn't exist in your work, and then when you go home, you can't remember your work. So you're basically living two different lives, which I think has been done. I think of the Ben Affleck movie Paycheck.
Yeah.
It's very like that, where it's like your job is to not remember, and then of course those two. It turns out something insidious is happening. I'd love to see a version where everything's fine, where they're like, yeah, it's actually not that evil, but turns out this company's evil. Someone who has been quote unquote like fired from is now connecting with him in this personal life, and that's it. And like again, it's not necessarily bad, but after Devs, I was kind of like, okay, well, this has been nailed. Like somebody nailed the .com tech bro, like mystery box thing.
Yeah. To me, it sort of looks like it's going to have kind of a Get Out type of premise, which that's another idea that's being beat into the ground right now. Like there's going to be a Get Out for every group or genre possible. And this looks like Get Out for office workers.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I will watch it, but
yeah, it could be
that. Good. Yeah, that idea that you think you're one place, but you're actually stuck somewhere else. Like it looks like it's going to be that.
Right.
Yeah.
I also want to note the big selling point, which they make sure to flash in the trailer. They should have just named this. Christopher Walken is in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment I saw Christopher Walken, I was like, well, yeah, obviously.
There's a couple of people involved.
I mean,
like
Adam Scott, John Turturro. Like there's some people in there.
Ben Stiller is at least producing it. He's directing
6
it.
episodes.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a solid cast.
It probably is good.
Adam Scott, not to brag, almost walked into him coming out of the bathroom at Earwolf once.
Ooh.
So write that down, everybody.
Okay.
Put it in my Wikipedia page. Just joking. I don't
Patricia
have one.
Arquette is also in this.
Yep.
Like it's got a lot of talent behind it. It's just like I'm ready for the comedic parodies of this genre. Like I just feel like we have so many of them now. There was that one with Jonah Hill, which was good. I liked that one.
Maniac.
Moneyball.
Yeah. Moneyball. Yeah.
Moneyball. Yep.
Like they are good.
The Sitter.
They're also these like weird high concept where it's like, why would you work at a place like this?
Right. I don't know. It's such a sci-fi premise that's been around for a while. But I don't know. There's something about it where the entry point is a bit too steep for me. It's like the movie Caveat, which I thought was good, but like the premise is like where the guy's like, okay, we're going to hire you for a weekend to basically keep my sister company, but you have to be chained to the wall wearing this harness. And it's like, nobody would ever agree to that job. And it's like this, it's like, well, you're agreeing to have your memories separated so you can only remember work stuff while you're at work and you can only remember home stuff while you're at home. It's like nobody would do that.
Right.
But I mean,
it's that thing where it's like, I get hustle culture and all that, but if your job, you erase your memory to go there, kind of seems like anything that happens after that is your fault, like, oh my God, they're an evil company. It's like, yeah, I mean, they required you to erase your memory to work there. So Yeah. What did you think?
I would want it
You think they were designing boats?
I would want it the other way around. I want to only remember my personal life at work. And then once you get outside, then you think about work, because then you only have to think about your real problems for like 8 hours a day.
That's my life already. Like that's my life right now. Is that when I'm working, I can only think about what I'm going to do when I leave work. And when I'm at home, I can only think about work.
Yeah. I see that.
So I mean,
you're living the life I want, Tom, I guess.
I'm living the dream. Yeah. I didn't even have to have a procedure. Maybe I did. Maybe I just can't remember it. Maybe that's part of the procedure.
Right.
No, I understand that I'm being a little bit unfair to the premise because it's sci-fi. You know, you've got to accept a little bit of nonsense in order to vibe with the story. But it's just I'm not interested in it. You know.
Yeah.
Like I've seen too many other versions of this story that are like you mentioned Maniac and Devs, and it's just like I don't need like another meditation.
It's the Moon Knight thing where it's like this actually it looks like it's done really well. It's just like, you know, I've been having hamburgers every night. I don't want a hamburger anymore. Like I don't know. At some point I'll probably watch this, and it's probably good. But I do think there is that idea that we have to accept a sci-fi premise immediately. I don't always believe. I had that problem with stuff like Hunger Games, where it's like it's this elaborate universe that everybody does, but everybody hates. And it's like, I just can't see why this would happen.
Yeah.
That is a big part of a sci-fi or dystopia where it's like, if I don't feel like this is a thing that could realistically happen in the starting point, it is hard for me to care.
Yeah. Hunger Games and Battle Royale both had that problem for me where it's just like, I cannot fucking fathom a world where people would stand for this.
Right. And it's supposed to be symbolic of other things. And I get that, but it's kind of all in the details where it's like, if you're making a dystopian film like that, you have to have the people in it feel reasonably convinced of it. And everybody seemed to hate it right away. It was like, I don't understand this. And this is another one where it's like, they're going to have to really sell the premise immediately in a logical way where I go, oh, okay, I see how we got to this, you know? And I don't know, maybe they will. Who can say?
Not me. I'm probably not going to watch it.
They goddamn better, I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Severance. It's not going to be watched by this guy.
I might watch it if I eventually get Apple TV. This feels very much like something on Apple TV.
Oh,
too, right?
You don't have Apple TV?
I will. I'll get it. I swear.
I just got a notification that season 3 of Servant is up now, and very excited. I just binged the first 2 seasons again recently to prep. I like Servant a whole lot.
Right.
It's very good.
I'll watch it someday.
Shyamalan Renaissance, baby.
Next trailer is In From the Cold. This is another one where I'm like, we've had a million of these. This one is basically gritty Black Widow. Like it's a Russian, like a lady who was programmed to be like a super soldier, kick-ass spy. And it's again the problem where it's like this person is train killer, a Jason Bourne.
It's The Long Kiss Goodnight.
It is The Long Kiss Goodnight. You're right. But less fun.
Yeah. More serious. It's this
The Long Hug Goodnight.
I have that completely derailed
joke.
Me. And it's perfection.
Brought us to a halt.
It's just
like a Matrix sequel.
It's just there's so damn many of these.
Yeah, there's too many of it's a a lady who's a top level Russian assassin, killed a bunch of people, then disappeared into a pedestrian life where she's married and has a family now, but they have to reactivate her because somebody's been killing in her name and she must stop it. So it's not exactly Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, I do like the part they call her like the Whisper.
The Whisper.
Which, like,
I could not get over that.
Yeah. Of course it's called that.
The Whisper? Nobody makes up names like that. The names we make up for people are stupid.
Yeah. And like I did like the idea that someone that was imitating her. That's a cool starting point. But ultimately
The thing about that starting point, though, if I was her, and granted, I'm not an assassin, so I can't put myself in her shoes.
You say,
but exactly. I mean, I have to do that publicly.
Yeah.
If I was her and like actual law enforcement came to me and was like, "Hey, someone's killing in your name and your style. We need you to come help us stop." I'd be like, "You're law enforcement. You go make them stop." Because once they come to you and say, "Oh, well, they're doing it in your name," that means they know it's not you. So I would just be like, talk to my lawyer if you need anything else. Good luck.
Yeah.
But that would make a less interesting movie.
I don't know. I would watch at least the first 18 minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I just go back to ordering DoorDash and recording podcasts for 90 minutes.
Yeah, this is Not My Problem, starring Adam Todd Brown. We need you now more than ever. Absolutely not.
No thank
Pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah, this is just, I don't know. It reminds me of like it's just that, like, you know, when you go in a bookstore and you look at all the books and you're like, look at all these trash
I do know
spy
that.
novels.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, look
at all these books.
Look at all these fucking books. No, I'm not.
I was really, really hoping that was going to be your analogy. It's like when you go into a bookstore and you say, "Look at all these books."
No, but then you like you pick up one and it's like some generic fantasy or generic spy,
They all
and there's
seem-
like 20 of them,
Mhm.
and you're like, who is reading this series? Someone is.
Yeah, it's like a 9-book YA series. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and it's like, I guess someone's watching this, but it's weird because it really feels like there's a million of these and they all look exactly the same. I don't know, man. And I'm sure some of them really stand out and are really well done, but it's what we've been talking about this whole time, where it's like that first entry point. It's like, I'm never gonna hit play. Like I'm just not. I'm sorry. And if this is an original thing, that really sucks because original stuff is good. We need it.
Yeah.
But it's just feels so.
I mean,
samey.
it's so derivative. It barely qualifies as original.
Yeah, that's true.
Do
And
genres
I mean-
like this ever get like that same kind of horror movie following where people are just like, "This is what I watch. This is
I
what
think
I
so,
talk
yeah.
about."
Yeah, they must. And that's the hypocrisy of me saying this, of course, is that I will watch a billion trash horror movies to find the good ones.
Same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
It depends on what you have patience for. I don't know. But like,
It
I think
does.
my biggest problem with this trailer, at least, is just that the action itself wasn't particularly memorable.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where these movies, live or die. So
yeah, I do really want to stress, though, if this was a trailer about people moving into a house, but then there's something spooky in the house, I'd be like, ooh, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Because I'm a slut for horror.
you sure are.
Yeah. I just watched The Turning, by the way.
You have that reputation. Oh, The Turning. Oh my
That
God. That is one of
was-
the worst movies I have ever seen.
We'll talk about it some other time, but my goodness, Tom.
It has
I
a-
know, Dave.
It has a great soundtrack, though.
It does.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that end credit sequence is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie sucks a big fat butthole.
I did not, after the last minute that was like, maybe not end credits, I shut it right off. I didn't notice the end credits.
The end credits sequence is pretty cool, but look, the rest of the movie is so aggressively bad.
That Wolfhard,
It sucks so hard.
here's what I'll say. Quick Turning review. That Wolfhard, I think he does a good job at being like creepy. I think he does a really good job at being like aggressively creepy. Would have been cool if that mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can move on.
He
can
even
move
has
on.
some good songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah. He's spitting some hot fire on that soundtrack.
All right.
He
let's talk
does.
about-
He's in a band called the Aubreys. They have a song
Wow.
called Getting Better Otherwise on the soundtrack.
Listen,
it's actually
he
very
looks like-
good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in a band called the
course,
Aubreys.
of course.
Oh,
yeah, I
for
wonder why-
sure. Yeah.
Wonder why he didn't have a song on the Ghostbuster soundtrack, because the girl did.
Okay, super cool. This feels like a parody of a teen romp.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a parody, or is it just
I don't know.
another teen romp?
I think it's a teen romp. Yeah.
This is every trope in one movie.
This is every teen movie trope. I'll say every R-rated teen movie trope, I think.
Yeah. Well,
No.
it starts with a kid wishing he was cooler at 11:11.
It starts with Freaky Friday. It's like Freaky Friday in Superbad.
Yes.
basically.
Yeah. And then he has to go to a part. It's so many hats on hats. So everybody sees him as this like hot guy all of a sudden. And so that's a movie in itself. But then it becomes we have to go to the party, like zany mishap, Superbad.
With Damon Wayans Jr. involved.
Yeah.
He's great. I love
Like
Damon Wayans.
he's
Jr.
there. Oh, yeah, same.
Yeah.
He's the Jolo Trulio of this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's Jolo Trulio in Superbad. But yeah, it's man. I couldn't. I like Damon Wayans Jr. a lot, but boy, I just could not care about this trailer.
I'm all for it. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm not going to see it, but I hope it brings joy to people. It's not hurting anybody, right? Like it doesn't seem to be.
I could see myself watching it one especially desperate night where
I can see you making us watch this for best.
I was
movie.
about to say
for
I
sure,
can see
yeah.
this being a movie that like ends up being surprisingly good.
Yeah. It had some good jokes in
Yeah.
the trailer. It seems like it might be well written in that way. But
Yeah. But it's just funny that the theme of today's Hypecast is this. Like genres that for some reason we're just still getting.
well, at least that's not going to be the case with this next one.
That's true. Yeah. But man, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
You guys
know
know?
either.
Yeah.
We're not going to answer it tonight, Dave.
Okay. We're not going to answer it. Everybody watch the trailer to this, I will say. It's a fascinating trailer. It really is like, it feels like a not another teen movie. Even in its name, Supercool.
Yeah, it feels like a movie that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the title does make it sound like a parody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not. It's very weird. Okay, let's talk about something else, right?
Yeah, let's move on.
All of Us Are Dead.
Yes. Only
Korean
Korea gets
zombie.
to make zombie movies anymore.
Absolutely.
That should be the law.
I put
Here-
this in the notes. It's amazing that Korea, we had this stagnating genre, and Korea looked at it and they're like, oh, you're making them wrong. These need to be action. These need to be like crazy batshit action comedies with a heart to them. And then they proceeded to just start making that. And it's like, fuck, you're right. We were making them wrong.
Yep.
This is incredible.
Yeah, this looks great.
Yeah.
This is an example of like the opposite of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, I don't care about the well, it's not the opposite. This is an example that demonstrates what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, I don't care if the premise is derivative necessarily, as long as what we're seeing is cool and engaging. And this is a spot on example of that, where it's like, I could not give a less of a shit about zombies at this point. We've been so saturated with them for 2 decades now, but every piece of footage in this trailer is amazing.
Yeah. Because they realize that it's execution. It's characters.
Exactly. It's execution. Yeah.
It's what every show and movie comes down to, is like, hey, what if we had like charismatic characters focused on plot and made it like really kick ass in the action, or unique looking. And it's like, it really doesn't matter then. Going back to Severance, one of the problems with that one, everybody's so serious. And it's that where it's like, if you're going to do a plot we've already done, do something to make it stand out. And the Korean horror movies, my fucking God, or rather zombie movies.
Yeah. Did we say what it was about? It's a bunch of kids in a high school
zombies.
that gets overrun.
It's a zombie movie.
It's Shaun of the Dead. Like they actually mention Train to Busan in the trailer.
Yeah.
And they talk about zombies in a more meta way. So it's their Shaun of the Dead with this new version of zombies that they've been doing, which is like
Fast.
they're fast, but like
They're
it's better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just that they run, because that was in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. It's that they're these weird wolf-like feral creatures, and then the action around dealing with them is so elevated. It's really, really cool. I mean, if you've seen Train to Busan, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they were trying to do in World War Z, but that movie is bad. And it also like they went with like a PG-13 version, I want to say, in that one.
Yes, yeah, they
and
for
it's
sure
like
did.
and it's like the swarm aspect is cool, but you didn't follow through. This, it's like they're slamming into things and like exploding, you know, like it's messy.
Yeah.
And
it's almost zombies by way of the Raid.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, fuck, what a great version of zombies. And they know not to try to make it scary, but rather like action.
Yeah, gruesome in action.
Yeah. And then again, like Train to Busan, they know to still make it emotional, where it's like when someone turns into a zombie, that sucks. And people are sad.
There's a couple of moments in Train to Busan where I was like, no!
Yeah, because they
how could you?
They're like, if we want, like, it's that thing where death has to matter. So it's like, we need the people to matter. So I'm just fucking pumped for this.
Yeah, I didn't expect. I didn't expect to be for the first couple of seconds of the trailer. I was like, oh, zombies and high school. All right, like fine. But then it gets going. I'm like, oh shit, I was wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was the one who was wrong.
Yeah. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Looks great. Yeah.
It's coming out in 8 days from when we record this. So 7 days from when you listen to it.
I forgot. What is it? It's a Oh, yes.
It's a Netflix, and we'll get into that.
You won't even have to do anything. It'll just be there for you.
It's going to watch me. I love it.
Speaking of just things coming back from the dead, I don't know. Final trailer is Marry Me. This is actually an old trailer, but I went to see Scream and this came out. This trailer popped up, and I was like, where the fuck has this been? I have to talk about Marry Me. A movie from 2005, I want to say. Yeah. This is J-Lo, who gets broken up with. She's like celebrity couple. And then so Owen Wilson happens to be in the audience holding a sign that says "Marry Me." And I guess that legally binds him to her saying, you will marry me. Yeah. And for some reason, he can't get out of that situation, or he doesn't want to.
It's a rom-com.
Yeah. It's a rom-com. It's a ridiculous rom-com.
She's a mega famous pop star, big stretch for J-Lo. Yeah. And he's just an aw shucks Owen Wilson taking his daughter to this concert. And it really is kind of the best type of rom-com. Like I'm not knocking this premise. It's a ridiculous premise. Yeah. But that's kind of what makes rom-coms fun. Like I love it when a rom-com has time travel, Yeah, we keep talking about like derivative premises. Like rom-coms is a genre where you really need to like try stuff. It's incredible. Yes. We never like stand back and appreciate how the rom-com genre is one of the weirdest genres. Yeah. Like it is like so fucking weird. It's great.
It used to be one of my favorite genres. Like the 2000s rom-coms are great. Like that is the golden age of rom-coms.
What are some of your favorite rom-coms from the 2000s?
I love Confessions of a Shopaholic. That is possibly my favorite rom-com. I actually like 28 Dresses a whole lot. I thought that was a fun movie. That's all I can think of right now. Yeah. This is, by the way, the director has also done episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and is doing, I believe, all of the She-Hulk episodes. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of like...
I don't know what that means yet.
But... I don't know what that means either, but I like this person's career.
Yeah. I also like the mini Anaconda reunion we're having in this film.
Yeah, Ice Cube should be in this.
What if Owen Wilson gets eaten by a snake
by a giant snake?
That would be amazing.
I don't like consuming J-Lo content. I'm not a fan. I don't.
That's fair.
I mean,
That's fair.
she's a good actor, but she, as a Mariah Carey fan, I have to draw a line.
I understand that.
A thing
Yeah.
people don't realize, when Mariah Carey had that breakdown in the late 90s, that really famous mental break, it was because J-Lo and Tommy Mottola were like conspiring to steal songs from the album that Mariah Carey was recording. And you can Google this. It was news at the time. And I feel like Mariah Carey must have, because she ended up suing Sony. And I feel like she must have signed some sort of NDA and agreed not to talk about it. And that's why that famous moment where they're asking Mariah Carey about all these singers and they get to Jennifer Lopez and she goes, "Oh, I don't know her." Like, people think that's Mariah Carey being an asshole. And it was probably, but she also had reason to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, there's no way Shakira should have opened for Jennifer Lopez at the Super Bowl. That doesn't track. That's not how that would go in real life whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine. Whatever. It's fine.
No,
Yeah,
these are the kinds of spicy takes that
Yeah,
our
we want a
listeners
Hypecast.
come for.
No,
yeah.
I get it, but yeah, you are still right that J-Lo can make a movie. She can make a solid ass movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really is just like a real solid rom-com. It's just like this is like when you see like a dog and it's like, oh, that's a solid dog, you know,
A real
or
good
like,
dog. Real
yeah,
good dog.
or like a horse, or like where it's like that is perfect example.
It's a sturdy looking horse.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
firm horse.
It's a real firm horse, real muscular horse.
Yeah, that's what this is.
I will probably watch this movie on streaming. I won't go to the theater to see it, but
Tom, when it comes out on streaming, we could do what we just watched for it.
we could do that, Dave. We could do that.
It feels like we should do more rom-coms because I think we're all in agreement. They're genuinely fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think they know why. And like, we know why the actors are in them. Like I think everybody sort of has agreed on rom-coms, right? Where we all know why we're here.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
to
they're
watch
like-
some batshit weird stuff that still manages to make you like weepy.
They're
And
like
it's
they're
like-
like sitcoms.
Yeah.
They scratch the same itch and
Yeah.
they tell the same kinds of stories, and we all like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's time travel in them.
Yeah, sometimes
Not
you get a
enough.
Kate and Leopold.
Yeah. Or a lake house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, we need more lake houses.
Was the
We need
Lake
more
House a
Lake Houses.
rom-com?
I would not call it a rom.
It's a romantic, it's sci-fi
It's a romance.
Yeah,
it's a romance.
It's romantic.
It's not. It is not a rom com.
Well, it's funny. Like not
Is
maybe
it?
not
It's
trying to be.
funny in the way the happening is funny.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a
It
lot of
didn't
jokes
mean to
in it.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like I don't know what it is.
It's the happening of rom-coms. That's what it is.
Exactly. That's you nailed it.
All right, we have some news stories to get into. Boy, we have a lot of news stories, so let's
kind of get to it. Let's
all right.
let's name some
We
let's
gotta-
name some producers.
big old thank you to Chester's Prophet. Thank you very much. Thank you to Definitely Not Guillermo del Toro. Sure. Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows. Thank you to Bob Grenville. Thank you to Steven. Thank you to Han Toomey, the Confused Cyborg. Thank you to Asking Seven. Thank you to Asking. Happy Ed 209. There, I did it.
Oh, you piece of trash. All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Tiger Doors Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank you.
Thank you to Manischewitz Maltov says the spice must flow, comrades.
Thank you.
Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Cody Johnson's Time Machine Noise.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pete Vorpagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory.
Thank you.
Thank you to subscribe to Jason Pargin's Substack.
Thank you. All right. So we have a Weird Al biopic starring Daniel Radcliffe. And honestly, that all checks out to me.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, the biopic itself.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's a
meta comedy.
Like
yeah.
a mockumentary kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume Weird Al will make songs for it.
I believe he's pretty heavily involved. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is Any hot takes? Any thoughts on this?
It would be funny if Weird Al was working on an actual biopic and this is a parody of it.
Right.
Oh, that would be great.
This is the Weird Al version of his genuine biopic.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to say negatively is that it's like a Roku channel movie, I think, which is a bit of a bummer.
So we'll never see this, is what you're saying.
Possibly. I don't know if they like rent their stuff, of like if you'll be able to rent a Roku film on Amazon or something.
Honestly,
like a real human being.
I think they have to, right? Like, I don't think they have a choice if they want people to see it. Because
Roku,
like,
the home of Quibi content.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all those quick bites landed.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Now
but
you can take them as big old long bites.
Was it pronounced Quibi the whole time, and we didn't realize?
Quibi.
That's stupid.
But yeah, the fucking Harry Potter continuing to do some weird shit.
I love his post Harry Potter career.
Yeah, him and Elijah Wood.
Him and Elijah Wood.
You play some magical person in your youth, and you're like, fuck it.
You live on residuals you got those residuals for the rest of your life, so you can start making weird shit now.
Yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
good for them.
Good for
honestly,
them.
Yeah. Honestly, yes.
Yeah. So we talked about All of Us Are Dead. Turns out that Netflix is releasing 25 Korean original shows in 2022.
Yep.
Now, I gotta say, I do appreciate that, because
of course
all they're doing is they looked at Squid Games and that other one, and their computer printed out something that said,
their computer said Korean film is a genre.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we're going to invest in Korean films. They're not all the same, you know?
Yeah. And they're not all necessarily good. That said, they're all kind of good.
Well, I mean, I appreciate...
there's a lot of really good Korean filmmakers.
For sure.
Who've existed for decades, you know?
Just like in any... But Korea does... Yeah, a lot of Korean filmmakers are really, really great. I'm pro anything that is increasing the distribution, the platform, the visibility of movies that aren't just Hollywood movies.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And that's kind of what it comes down to.
Even though this is brutally cynical, it's still a good thing ultimately.
It's brutally cynical and also a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a good move. Like it does make sense. Yeah, you look at the patterns, you're like, geez, seems like whenever someone's like something comes out of Korea, we love it. And yeah, part of that might be because it's the same with any international market, where we're just getting the stuff that is so good that it reaches us, you know?
Right. Or we're seeing their 4 quadrant stuff. Like we're seeing the stuff that like translates across languages and cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Netflix has been dealing in Korean shows for a long time. Like they have a huge lineup of
Korean,
shows.
but like they have a lot of German shows.
Yeah.
They do a lot of just picking up the distribution of international films and indie films.
It's kind of the best thing they do.
Honestly,
you know what? Give me 6 red notices if that means I get fucking 2 indie films out of it.
You're gonna get 6 red notices.
I know. Yeah.
It's an example of me being tired of action movies. I didn't even watch Red Notice.
Why would you?
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. But this is good news. You're right, Tom. It's cynical news, but
it's extremely cynical because they're just like, yeah, you like Korean films. Like, no, we like Squid Game.
Right.
We don't like it because
Hellbound
it was
good
Korean.
And
Hellbound,
that's the thing, is like, you're right, it's not because it's Korean, but statistically speaking, every time I see something from Korea, I enjoy it. So I don't know, man. Like I guess like it's a safe bet for them, but
I think you're right in that part of it, at least, is that the really good stuff gets over here.
Absolutely.
Like Korea makes a lot of movies, and I bet a whole lot of them are trash.
It's the same, it's the same with Hollywood, where it's like God, there's thousands of movies that get made every year, but the ones that go to every, well, I mean, the rest of the world is all they're seeing from us is like Marvel and Transformers movies.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing is it doesn't quite work the same way for us.
No, it's true. It doesn't.
Yeah. I don't know that maybe I haven't looked into it enough to know what's going on, but yeah. Cool, exciting stuff.
Sure.
You guys hear that Michael Mann wrote a novel sequel to Heat? Tom, I'm glad you put this on. I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, it is both a sequel and a prequel, so we will finally, at long last, know what happened to Al Pacino's TV.
What's going on here?
I don't care. I'm gonna read it. Gonna read it.
That's fair.
Who gives a shit? It comes out in September. It's a book. You read it.
Yeah,
Dave, you just got through talking about how you walk into a bookstore and you see all these books and they all look the same. How many of those books are sequels to Heat?
Part of me wishes I never knew this news and could just run into Heat 2 and be like, what the fuck? And then pick it up and get my jaw drop when I see written by Michael Mann. Like, what an incredible thing.
I hope that is what the book is called.
It is literally called Heat 2.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's the best.
He could have gone with like hot or like or the other way.
Hotter.
Cold. Yeah. But no, Heat 2.
Heat 2.
It's a prequel?
Prequel and a sequel, apparently.
Oh, so you call it
Yeah.
preheat.
Yeah, there you go, preheat.
I watched, so I saw this like advertised on Twitter, right? There was a video like trailer. And at first I thought like, oh, he's making another movie. And then they reveal a novel. And my first thought was, oh, this is a joke. Like he's making a joke. And then I looked into it like, oh, I guess not. It's not a bad idea. It's just Heat novelization. It's just weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope he really I hope it's full of long descriptions of how two characters are driving in silence and what what song they're listening to. Yeah. And it's just a complete description of they continue driving as In the Air Tonight reached minute 2.
Yeah. I hope it's secretly also a script. And then the movie is just going to be like 37 hours long.
It's got to be, right? Like this must have started with him saying, I want to make Heat 2. Maybe he realized like, I don't want to like cast it and like have to get these actors back, or like maybe he was just realized like, you know what? It's easier as a book. Fuck it. Which maybe like more sequels should be done this way. Ultimately, I don't know. It's interesting.
It's got to be easier writing a book than making a movie.
Turns out.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Man. Final news story. The Batman is almost 3 hours long. It's like 2 hours and 40 something minutes.
This is a betrayal of my trust. I didn't want this to be the thing, but
I have a hot take.
Okay.
I think superhero films are better when they're longer. The Batman is a hard one to argue for, but this is what I'll say, is that epics in superhero films, I think, work because we've kind of did a lot of shorthand for superheroes. When honestly, like in a vacuum, a story of a guy who calls himself Batman fighting someone who calls themselves the Riddler, and there's a Catwoman, like you need that actually should take time to explain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true.
Where it's like, yeah, I kind of need details here. The Batman obviously is tough because we all kind of already know what Batman is.
I was going to say, yeah, I sure hope they tell us what happened to his parents.
I know. So like, not the best example, but superheroes are big stories. And so like, I don't know, they kind of have a right to be long and epic because they're big characters. It's like Lord of the Rings. It's like fantasy. It's, like sci-fi. It's like, these are genres that can be very long. Mm-hmm. So like, I get that people are kind of feel the opposite, where it's like, traditionally it's like, no, fucking we should have more 90-minute superhero films. I get that. And certain superhero films, I don't need to see 3 hours of.
Well, I think you touched on something when you said that's a movie about a guy that dresses up as a bat to fight crime, and a person named Catwoman takes a lot of explaining. I think part of the issue is superhero movies tend to confuse explanation with story.
Right.
I don't need you to explain to just keep explaining things for 2 hours before the story starts. I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more of like these characters. I do like they need to be kind of complex people to be doing the things they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And often movies don't address that. They're rather two-dimensional at times. So it's like a character like the Riddler, which, by the way, I was surprised everybody like spoke up against his look.
Remember I thought that? It was fine. Yeah, that was, I don't know.
Not only did I think he looks fine, but I thought we had already seen him in the trailers to know that. Yeah, people were like, "Oh my God, look at what he looks like," and it's like, yeah, he's looked like that for like
about
a year.
For about 2 years now. Yeah, like we saw him in the first trailer back in like 2019.
And like, if there's any character that can be grittied, it is the Riddler. Like, you make him 7. But like a character like that, it's like I kind of do like the idea of spending time with a character like that, and figuring out like, how do you actually make a character like this exist realistically? That does take time. But
does it always have to? Like, no. I don't know if it has to. That's the thing.
It doesn't, and that's why I understand. I definitely get why people are like, no, just give me. They're dumb. Just give me 90 minutes of it. You know.
There is I don't know if it shows up for everyone or if Netflix just knows me well enough, but there is a 90-minute movies category now.
90 minutes or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
love it.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Love it.
But I mean, I think every Batman movie has been over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just about.
Right. That's the other thing.
Not counting like the 60s one and like the animated ones.
Wasn't like the last Nolan one over almost 3 hours?
Yes. Like the Dark Knight Rises is damn near 3 hours. We just got a fucking 4-hour Justice League movie.
Right.
Thank God.
Which I mean, there is, I just hope I'm still very interested in this movie, The Batman. I'm still into the idea of it being a detective movie. Hope if they
said it is.
They said it is, but they also always say that, so who knows? But
that's true. That's like whenever James Cameron is like, this Terminator movie is special, and it's like, you sort of catch
I don't
that
believe
check.
you anymore, James Cameron. But so and you can do a lot of interesting stuff with Batman to justify a 3-hour movie. I just hope that they do those things. It's
right.
Like,
it has to earn its length.
Right. Like those the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, which are both pushing the 2.5 hour mark. Tell me something interesting about Batman in both of those movies.
Yeah.
You can't. So
right. I guess what I'm saying is, like, on its own, the knowledge that a superhero movie is almost 3 hours long to me isn't like, geez. Yeah. It's just that a lot of them don't do anything interesting with that time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
They could.
But there's room for it, and it's particularly with a character like Batman, where it's a little more grounded, and it's a little more grounded, and it's like pathology. Mm-hmm. So you could do cool things with that, and I hope that they do.
I hope they do.
I would not hesitate to watch a 3-hour crime noir. So if that's what this is, it's just with Batman in it. Like, sure.
And Robert Pattinson, like I trust him for 3 hours.
Yeah, we love him.
Yeah. I mean, the more details we hear about, I think we talked about this on the episode with Cody, but like the more details we hear about this movie, it's like there must have been something to get him to sign on, right? So it's like, it's this detective story. It's 3 hours long. It's this weird version of the Riddler. It's like, okay, I'm starting to see why an actor like him would be like, sure, I'll be Batman.
Or just, money. That's good money.
Could just be money, yeah. But
maybe he gets to fuck a mermaid again.
It's true. But I mean, like a Batman movie, it's so visible, and he's already dealt with that shit. Yeah. And it's like you get locked down for like years where it's the only thing anyone wants to talk to you about is the superhero movie you're in. And it's like outside of Twilight, he's just been doing movies where he plays like crazy characters, like weirdos, off the wall, interesting stuff. Movies where he has interesting things to do. So it's like, okay, there must be something to this movie.
There's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
He's usually, oddly enough, I wouldn't have said this at a certain time, but when Robert Pattinson's in a movie, I know, that's probably going to be good.
Yeah, he's going to do something that I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah.
So.
Hear me out. Gritty, Face-Off remake, Robert Pattinson and Devon Sawa.
Sure.
Let's do it.
I'm into that.
I don't even know why you needed to say "hear me out."
Yeah.
You could have just said that.
Yeah. I need it. I need it now.
Yeah. Give it to me, Dave.
All right. Should we wrap this up? Should we name some producers?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Big thank you to the Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight. Thank you to Exploding Runes. Thank you to Andrew, the proud Satanist. How?
Praise him.
Thank you to Vincent. Thank you to Rev MD. Thank you to Lauren Gucci. Thank you to Bootler Boodleson. Thank you to Tox. Thank you to Ricky Cilantro. Thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you to Space McNulty.
All right, let me swoop in here on the wings of vengeance. Thank you to Oh Great, it's that guy.
Thank you.
Thank you to Nolan Mayton.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew. Follow Marina on Twitch and Patreon at Heartfist Brain McGuire.
Thank you.
Yeah, do that. Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Burrito Mouth.
Thank you.
Thank you to the ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparks, Esquire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J.
Thank you.
And thank you to Pie Guy.
Thank you. Whew. Woo. Let's all put our dicks back in.
No, my dick remains out.
I've had it out this whole time.
Stop. Dave.
No.
Dave, before I pull on this cowl
no.
that I designed to strike fear into the heart of criminality.
What?
I need you to tell me before
what?
I go out there and face the night.
What?
Whether there was a movie that deserves more hype this week.
All right. You know, there is.
Oh, what luck!
What?
Adam, I'm so glad you were here for this.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah. This is a movie called We're All Going to the World's Fair. It is going to be in select theaters April 15th. However, it has already been purchased by HBO Max, so I can, reasonably say it'll probably be out on streaming around that time as well. It might even be earlier. Sometimes they do that. This is a premise that I have seen before, done in some degree, but it's never been tackled quite right. This is about a teenager who is isolated and alone, not because of a pandemic, just isolated. And she's playing a role-playing horror game online. It's that creepypasta meme culture idea. And the game is that I think you cut yourself, you smear blood on your screen, and you say, I want to go to the World's Fair, like 5 times. And the idea, at least as it seems in the trailer, is that it's not necessarily about ghosts or something that happens. It's not fear.com, but it's more about this person's life and this isolation and this like descent into madness that happens. It looks like it's sort of shot like a found footage, but not. Some of it takes place on a webcam. One review called it this generation's Blair Witch Project, which I don't know, but it is getting good reviews. It's getting a lot of good reviews. And that's more or less what the trailer shows. It doesn't really do more than that. It's about how like it's not trying. The key is that it's not trying to make the creepypasta stuff seem actually scary. Like it's not like, ooh, look how scary Slender Man is. It's more of like, look how scary what's happening to this girl is. And it, I guess, hinges on that performance. And a lot of reviews have said this teenage actress is killing it in this role. So that really intrigues me too.
Yeah, she's great in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's real. It's uncomfortable in a way that's like you're watching. I don't know. The trailer is really interesting.
It's
and
unnerving.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's unnerving, and it's not because it's showing stuff that's creepy. It's like her behavior as she's trying to participate in this meme is what's unnerving.
Yeah, and it's like I think there is a question of like, is something supernatural happening to her or not? Maybe it's a lot more clear in the actual film, but it's very haunting. Yeah, in a way that isn't creepy people in mirrors or in your screen. You know, it's not that. It's way more psychological.
Right. It's like it seems to be anyway about just the culture that has developed in the past 20 years where our relationships have become more and more parasocial.
Right.
And it's in the subset of a subset within that where it's a lot of super isolated kids growing up in these very small echo chambers.
Yes.
And
that does seem to be what it's mainly about. The company Utopia that did it, they did that sword, that fucking Sword of Trust.
The Sword of Trust.
Yeah, they do some very interesting indie films. Like most of their films, they're kind of A24 in that regard, where if you go through their films, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen a trailer for this and it looked fucking weird. You know, it's a lot of that. And so, yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be pretty unique, and people should at least check out the trailer for sure.
Should we try the thing? Should we like cut our fingers and?
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't think they made a webpage for it. I think they knew that, you know, that's not how people care about movies anymore.
I like
Although,
that.
Is there a fear.com.com? Hold on.
I think so. There was at the time anyway.
Ooh. I don't think it's associated with the film. So I want you to know, if you type in fear.com.com, it's a skulls, a dancing skeleton, and it says, "Oh no, you are cursed," in spinning like 90s webpage letters.
Dave is getting such a fucking computer virus right now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the World's Fair.
Yeah.
I think I got fear.com to you guys.
The World's Fair of identity theft.
Yeah.
Oh, you piece of trash.
I want that to be I want someone going to a spooky website and just getting a terrible virus.
That's the ghost, because it's just a fucking virus that drains your bank account.
Yeah. That is spooky.
It is. That actually strikes terror into my heart.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all going to the World's Fair. Big long title, but it really looks interesting. Check it out, folks.
It does.
Yeah. Well, guys, folks, that's a sode. We've done it.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure we've done it. Yeah.
I think
we've reached the end.
We did it.
We did.
Do you disagree?
No.
Well, all right, Adam.
No.
First of all, thank you.
Hey, thank you. This was fun.
What do you got to tell the world?
Yeah,
We're not
what do you got going on?
We have more content.
Oh, I don't have anything to tell people. Like,
you got to tell them something.
Are we talking about plugs, or what are we?
Yeah, do some plugs, man.
Or
Tell
just
them some stuff.
you know,
some stuff. A manifesto. Do you have a manifesto you can read? Anything.
Fucking podcasts. That I don't have. No, just follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Adam Todd Brown. Todd with 1D. That's all. You know where to find me.
You know where to find them, folks.
You get it.
Follow them. You love them.
Mm-hmm.
We all love them.
Please, just love me. That's all.
Just love him.
Is that so much to ask?
And prove it with money, obviously.
Yeah.
That's how you love.
Yes.
Tom, do we want people to love us?
Uh-huh. Better tell them, Dave.
Well, you should love us. Sorry, I'm gassy. All right, so love us. And also, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. If you go on there for $5 of your dollars a month, you have access to a bunch of podcasts exclusive to there, such as Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We also have some podcasts we do with the folks at Small Beans. That's Star Trek The Next Futurama and Spiel Boys. Those are all available for $5 a month. For a little more, we watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. You can get in on that as well. Lord knows what we're watching tonight.
I mean, yeah, who can say? It might be a rom-com.
I kind of want to watch
Kate Leopold?
Yeah.
The Lake House?
The Lake, both. Yes to both.
Which is not a rom-com. We also have a store. Head over to Gameplay. Yeah, that's right. Fucking hell. Head over to GameplayUnemployed.com. I thought I was about to plug Adam's
It's
site.
all falling apart.
And you'll find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, stickers, mugs, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out.
Check it out.
And that's it. That's all we got for you.
That's all.
That's all we got. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, Corlew, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.